And we will, of course, be closely monitoring this. You can look for updates throughout the day on the WPXI News app and tonight on Channel 11 News starting at 5. Some more breaking news. Canada health officials have approved Pfizer's vaccine. The country is set, to receive about 250,000 doses this month and 4 million by March. And the UK's National Health Service has put out an alert about the vaccine. As you know, the country started vaccinations yesterday, and 2 people had some allergic reaction to this. Officials there are now saying that any person with a history of significant allergic reaction to a vaccine, to medicine, or food should not get the Pfizer vaccine. Getting a vaccine out to the public is the most crucial step to stopping the pandemic. The FDA is expected to approve the Pfizer vaccine for use in the U.S. tomorrow. NBC's Tom Costello has the latest on this from Washington.
Good day. So tomorrow, Thursday, is the day that the outside FDA advisory committee begins looking at Pfizer's COVID vaccine data. But the FDA's review of that data suggests the vaccine is safe and with few side effects. And as you know, British health teams have already started using the vaccine there. While the vaccine requires 2 shots, the FDA says it was actually 50% effective after just a single shot. Now, Pfizer claims 95% effective after 2 shots 3 weeks apart. So once the advisory panel recommends action, the full FDA could issue emergency authorization within 24 hours. And so that means we could see Americans receiving the first vaccinations by this weekend, most likely healthcare workers. Now, that's the Pfizer vaccine. Another vaccine is made by Moderna. That also goes through the FDA review process. But will there be enough vaccine for everybody by the summer? Pfizer says it's already sold a big chunk to other countries, so the U.S. will be depending on Moderna and Johnson & Johnson and AstraZeneca as well. The U.S. is not just banking on one vaccine horse here. It's really betting on multiple vaccine candidates. I'm Tom Costello in Washington. Back to you.
All right, thank you. And another local hospital has run out of ICU beds. Uniontown Hospital in Fayette County told our partners at the Business Times that a flood of COVID cases has them now at capacity. They say COVID patients have doubled in the past week and that the ICU is caring for COVID patients only. A second unit has now been set up. Officials say people should not panic and say they're doing everything they can to maintain care. Butler Memorial Hospital is also at capacity in the ICU. They converted a post-anesthesia care unit to a critical care unit with 15 beds. It's one of Allegheny County's largest school districts and is just announced this morning it will move all students to virtual learning starting Monday. The North Allegheny School District will stay fully virtual now through January 18th. As of today, only the high school is fully remote. Middle school students are in hybrid mode. Elementary students just returned to full in-person learning this week. It's not what you want to hear as we get closer to the holidays, but it's really no surprise. The World Health Organization is urging people not to hug. As our Jacqueline Fell explains, World Health experts are shocked by how this pandemic is gripping America.
The World Health Organization says do not hug. It may be an unwelcomed message, but medical experts say it could save lives. The WHO's emergencies chief says people shouldn't get too close to their loved ones this year. The message was sent particularly to Americans to stop the spread of the virus. Deaths from COVID-19 are soaring, and cases are at a record high, more than anywhere else in the world. Right now, 1 to 2 people a minute are dying in the U.S. All of this as we are days away from a vaccine getting the government go-ahead.
What we do now literally will be a matter of life and death for many of our citizens.
We're experiencing a surge like we've never seen.
President-elect Joe Biden has a plan to slow the spread for his first 100 days in office. His top goals include promoting widespread mask wearing, distributing vaccines to at least 100 million Americans, and getting more kids back in school safely. Reporting outside Washington, Jacqueline Fell, Channel 11 News.
The state's COVID strike team will be in Greene County starting tomorrow. COVID-19 testing will be held at Greene County Airport in Waynesburg. It's going to be every day from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. This is through Monday. The tests are free, and you do not need to make an appointment. The strike team just wrapped up its work in Butler County. The State Department of Health says it was able to test up to 450 people per day. Millions have turned to food banks for the first time ever this year. Feeding America says that it's handed out more than 4 billion meals since the pandemic started. That's almost a 57% increase compared to last year. A man is facing charges after police say he threatened workers at a Family Dollar in Greensburg when he was asked to leave the store for not wearing a mask. According to our news partners at the Trib, a worker asked Derek Hart Jr. to move away from other customers because he wasn't wearing a mask. He was then asked to leave. Police say that's when he threatened workers, threw things at them, and knocked over a display. New at noon, Senator Bob Casey is focusing on police reform. He just introduced a package of bills that would overhaul how police interact with people with disabilities. Channel 11's Mike Holden takes a closer look at the changes that Casey is calling for.
Enough is enough. Senator Bob Casey is speaking out and introducing new policing legislation that he says would safeguard some of the most vulnerable members of our population.
Really difficult issue that
Senator Bob Casey joined local and state lawmakers, members of law enforcement, and families who have dealt with tragic incidents involving police. Casey introduced 2 policing reform bills during the special virtual roundtable event today. The bill focuses on changing the way police interact with people with disabilities. In addition, they also lighten the burden of 911 calls and encourage the use of 211 calls for non-emergency situations. Casey says the LEAD, or Law Enforcement Education and Accountability for People with Disabilities initiative, addresses 2 very important hot-button issues: racial injustice, as well as people with disabilities interacting with the police. He says we must act now.
These bills are designed to get people in need the services and support they need right away to address the needs that they have.
And Casey says he now plans to introduce more legislation in the very near future. In the meantime, local police are involved in this push as well. We're breaking down their side of the story and their message to community members for Channel 11 News starting at 5 o'clock tonight. Reporting this afternoon, Mike Holden, Channel 11 News.
There are new calls to cut funding to Pittsburgh police. Close to 36 people asked City Council to cut 50% of the department's budget during a hearing on Thursday. That was on Tuesday. They want to see the funds go into social service programs instead. Council members told the Trib that cutting that much would violate laws and union contracts. A review of Mayor Peduto's budget started last month. It does not increase taxes, but does call for more than $25 million in personnel cuts, including 200 police officers, a move the public safety director says would be disastrous. There's another public comment session coming up on Monday. The weather's kind of on repeat. Cold and cloudy again today. Meteorologist Danielle Dozier has her forecast for us. Danielle.
Peggy, it is cloudy, it's cold still here at this noon hour with our temperature in the lower 30s, but it feels a lot colder because we have that breeze out there today. You're looking live over the city right now with that overcast sky. It's going to be another gloomy day, I think, for the majority of our area. Southwest winds at 9 make it feel like only 27 degrees right now, even though the air temperature is at 34. We're at 34 in Greensburg, Beaver, and Butler. It's a common number there with freezing in Indiana. Our sustained winds are as high as 17 in Greensburg and 12 out in the Washington area. These winds will be sustained as high as 15 today and could gust up to about 20 miles per hour. Makes it feel like the lower 20s to mid 20s across a good part of the region right now. So if you are stepping out, make sure you have your heavy coat on. Over the next few hours, our air temperature climbs to about 40, which is better than yesterday, but I have an even bigger warm up in the forecast. I'll let you know when those temperatures get close to 50 degrees coming up in my main weather forecast.
Another primetime matchup here on Channel 11 for the Steelers, and the players are moving on from that first loss of the season. Despite the loss, the Steelers are still the top seed in the AFC. Coach Tomlin reflected on the loss and the one thing the Steelers were not able to do, get short yardage when they needed it.
I live by a coaching creed, man. If you can't get a yard, you don't deserve to win. And that was the case for us in this game. We had several sequences where we had an opportunity where if we gained a yard, it's significant in terms of the development of the outcome of the game, and we were unsuccessful.
And we have a full night of Steelers coverage on Sunday. Our pregame coverage starts 6 p.m. Kickoff at 8:20. Then stay tuned for After the Game for the Black and Gold Zone postgame show and the final word.
The challenge is that the government has not really reflected the interest of the people in these communities.
Black Americans are less likely to get a COVID-19 vaccine. How a local pastor is trying to build trust in Pittsburgh's minority communities. Stimulus checks are one thing, but what about gift cards? One local small town's unique approach to helping neighbors through the pandemic. And it's a Pittsburgh favorite, the ambitious plan to open another Prantle's Bakery, coming up new at noon.
We wanted to do something to help. You know, everybody's in a bad way.
So true. And so his community is giving out gift cards. Channel 11's Amy Marcinkiewicz spoke with business owners and community leaders in Zelienople, where they're trying out a different approach to COVID-19 relief.
Zelienople has come up with an out-of-the-box way to help borough residents and businesses all at the same time. Too many small businesses to mention as you take a stroll down Zelienople's main drag, all of them decked out for the holidays, hoping folks come out and shop. A borough incentive that leaders say has never been done before. They've come up with their very own coronavirus stimulus package, giving every resident, more than 2,000 residents, a $50 e-gift card to spend on utilities, Disabilities or on the downtown shops.
And we're so thankful for the people that have come out and those that don't feel comfortable coming out, buying takeout.
What a gift for restaurants who have really been struggling because of the shutdowns.
We were just open about 8 weeks when everything happened and we had our first shutdown. So we've really had to rely on local support from the community.
Leaders say they use leftover federal stimulus money to do this for its community.
So we'll help out our businesses and also help out our residents. They could use it to pay their electric bills, or they could use it to buy groceries or anything in Zillionople.
It's all about neighbor helping neighbor.
So thankfully, things have actually been on the positive side, and we've noticed a real big uptake ever since the gift card program was established.
More than 40 businesses are participating, and the cards, they're good till May 2021. In Butler County, Amy Marcinkowitz, Channel 11 News.
Nearly $35,000. That is how much debt, on average, students here in Pennsylvania have because of higher education. It's on the high end compared to other states. So what if that debt could be gone just like that? Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer wants President-elect Joe Biden to forgive up to $50,000 in student debt per borrower. He thinks it should be done on the first day of Biden's presidency.
We have come to the conclusion that the President Biden can undo this debt, can forgive $50,000 of debt the first day he becomes president. You don't need Congress. All you need is the flick of a pen.
Well, during a press conference last month, Biden acknowledged college students are in real trouble and loan forgiveness should happen immediately. He mentioned, though, $10,000 in debt forgiveness, not $50,000. The Woolies building in the Strip District is one step closer to coming down. According to our partners at the Business Times, the city's planning commission approved a new design plan after they rejected another one last month. A developer has the go-ahead to build a 23-story office tower on the property. It would include parking for more than 800 cars. The project could cost up to $200 million and could take about 2 years to build. The new owner of a hometown favorite is opening another location. We're talking about Prantle's Bakery. Channel 11's Alyssa Raymond spoke with the owner about some big plans.
Prantle's, is your mouth watering? Are you thinking about that delicious burnt almond tort? This thing right here has been making people happy for 50 years. And now some people won't have to drive as far to satisfy their cravings. Check it out. Prantle's is in the process of opening up a fourth location. It's in North Huntington at the intersection of US 30 and Robbins Station Road. They won't bake in this new building. Instead, the Shady Side and Greensburg locations will supply the new location.
The burnt almond tort, I keep saying the burnt almond tort, but that's what Prantle's is known for. And it's just an iconic store that has been in Shady Side for over 50 years. And people just, it's become a tradition for people to visit over the holidays. And we just hope everybody keeps coming back.
Henry and Jane Prantle retired in 2007. John Felice took over. And then this past October, John Cuglieri bought the business. He's originally from North Huntington. Tonight at 5, when the owner hopes to have the new location open, plus any other plans in the works. Reporting in North Huntington, Alyssa Raymond, Channel 11 News.
Your severe winter Team 11 forecast.
Happy Wednesday. I know it's cloudy out there. It's hard to really get motivated when you've got an overcast sky every single day, it seems like. But the good news about today is the temperature should be a little bit higher than what we had out there yesterday. You're looking at your visible satellite right now. That's the cloud cover coming across the screen, and I do expect quite a bit of cloud cover across our area today. It is chilly in response to the clouds, and we have been tracking as well a couple of light snow showers passing through portions of Indiana and Fayette counties over the last hour. So we will have that chance of seeing some light snow in the ridges of Westmoreland and Fayette counties, as well as Indiana County. I think portions of Armstrong, even northern Butler County, could get in on some light snow showers today. And the reason is because we have a weather disturbance that is crossing across northern, north central, and central Pennsylvania today. So if you are closer to where that low pressure system is, that's where you're going to have the more favored chance of seeing some scattered light snow. Otherwise, it could be just a few flurries for the rest rest of us. Our storm tracker maps actually show that cloud cover that will be rather thick from at least Pittsburgh and points north. I do expect quite a bit of cloud cover down to the south in Washington and Greensburg as well. You may get a few breaks in Fayette County and portions of Greene County briefly today, but look at the clouds coming back in for those areas toward this evening. Temperature-wise, though, we climb to about 40. However, it will not feel like 40 degrees because the winds will be stronger. So we're looking at those west winds that could be as high as about 15 miles per hour today, with occasional gusts to 20 miles per hour, which should make it feel like at least the upper 20s to low 30s, just depending on your location. The forecast tonight is roughly the same as what we had out there this morning, which was my forecast low of 30. That's what we reached. Tonight we're going with about 31, and we'll have lighter winds out of the west. And we have temperatures across the entire area that are going to be in the upper 20s and low 30s into tomorrow morning. So of course, yes, we'll need those heavy coats when we step out the door. Tomorrow afternoon, we should climb into the mid 40s. Some spots may touch the upper 40s. It depends on how fast the clouds can clear out. But I'm going to show you my model data and our storm tracker maps for the day Thursday to let you know when that sunshine could creep back out in the picture. 5-day forecast, your weekend always in view, and we are still on par to have the 50s on Friday with about 53 degrees, and your weekend is favoring temperatures in the mid 50s on Saturday. The good news about Saturday is that it looks like the bulk of the rain and the widespread rain will be holding off until we get toward at least late afternoon or into the evening hours. So we'll have the first part of the day that'll be dry, and our temperature climbs to 55 and goes to 45 into Sunday morning, but that looks to be a high temperature for the day on Sunday, as falling temperatures are still in the forecast throughout the afternoon Sunday, where we could have a few spotty showers mixing with or changing to snow showers as we head into Sunday night. Severe Weather Team 11 will keep you updated.
Why would you want to open a restaurant right in the middle of a pandemic? Well, we're getting answers from someone who's doing just that.
The important thing is that people are thinking outside the box.
That includes a study that says smell tests could prevent COVID outbreaks. Why that local doctor says the test, though, has its challenges. new study shows that a fast and cheap test of your sense of smell could possibly stop COVID-19 outbreaks. The study is out of the University of Colorado in Boulder. Now, we should point out one of the authors of the study is the founder of the smell test company. The test includes a scratch and sniff card. You'll have to take this test once every 3 days, and if you notice any irregularity in smell between tests, it could indicate you have the virus. We spoke to a local UPMC doctor who gives the study an A for effort, but says it would require millions of people taking the test for accurate results.
We have 80% of the population, which is a lot, take a smell test every 3 days. And it's not just like, hey, Joe, do you have decreased sense of smell? Because they actually know that people actually aren't that sensitive to that.
He says the study is trying to find a way to simplify screening, and that is good, but says more research is needed. According to the CDC, mental health visits to children's emergency rooms have increased significantly during the spring or since the spring, and parents worry the holiday season could make it even worse. A study by Nationwide Children's Hospital reveals 62% of parents believe the holidays will be difficult on their kids' mental health. Psychologists suggest coming up with new ways to safely celebrate. One idea is focusing on others.
To brighten their day through, delivering something to them, making a card. It's a good time to take stock of that as a family and to help your children realize how we can show gratitude and kindness to other people.
And experts say it's not just kids. Parents need to take some time for themselves as well.
The challenge is that the government has not really reflected the interest of the people in these communities.
Black Americans are less likely to get a COVID-19 vaccine. How this local pastor is trying to build trust in Pittsburgh's minority communities. The COVID-19 vaccine could be approved by the FDA as soon as tomorrow, and Pennsylvania plans to distribute it in 3 phases, starting with first responders, essential workers, and the elderly. So it could be some time before the vaccine is available to the general public, and convincing people to take it could prove to be a big challenge. Channel 11's Gabriella DeLuca shows us why.
As we are getting closer and closer to getting the COVID-19 vaccine here in Pittsburgh, one local pastor is making it his mission to go door to door in minority communities, talking to people, informing them about the vaccine, and helping them to form trust in the government.
We really want to see what is the attitude towards vaccination, in particular around these COVID-19 vaccines.
When Paul Abernathy goes door to door in minority communities like the Hill District and the North Side to gauge thoughts on the new COVID-19 vaccine and to educate people, he isn't surprised by what he hears.
There's a great deal of distrust with the government because government systems have widely failed communities of color. Even as this pandemic has happened, we're even seeing very clearly how government systems failed, even in the context of COVID-19.
The Pittsburgh branch of the NAACP has said there's a lack of PPE and COVID-19 testing in minority communities. And now that we are getting closer to the vaccine, we've reported that studies show Black Americans are 20% less likely to get the COVID-19 vaccine. When hearing that, Father Paul wants to help build confidence and trust.
We have a lot of work to do, not just about COVID-19, but really in repairing relations, restoring relations with the government overall.
Unemployment is also a concern for him, since a labor attorney says employers can require you to get the COVID-19 vaccine unless you have a religious reason or a disability.
As a general rule, a person who works in a store or an office would have to abide by that rule. If they didn't, now obviously if they didn't, the employer could take action, or the employee, of course, could quit.
That also includes hospital workers. However, UPMC announced that it will not mandate the COVID-19 vaccine for its employees the way they do for the flu shot.
Until we learn more and build our own experience with this vaccine, plus until we see the uptake of the vaccine in our communities and have an understanding about the role that vaccination has in ending this pandemic, it's not the right thing to make it mandatory. It'll be voluntary.
The pastor thinks any mandate for employees to take the vaccine could lead to joblessness.
I do believe that there's going to be many in our community who are not going to want to receive this vaccine. I would imagine that there's going to be some that would choose unemployment over receiving the vaccine.
Which is just another facet of the strained relationship.
We must acknowledge that it's rooted in historical fact and personal experience. And we have to honor that. We have to recognize it.
Reporting in Pittsburgh, Gabriella DeLuca, Channel 11 News.
2 units at the Westmoreland County Prison are on lockdown because of COVID concerns. They told the Trib more than 100 inmates and staff have been exposed. 27 inmates and 29 employees at the Allegheny County Jail are COVID positive. 200 inmates are quarantined. The positive employees are isolating at home. Last week, the Pennsylvania Corrections Department said that it will not mandate testing at state prisons, but they've been urged to do so by the ACLU of Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh native Tom Vilsack has been asked to join the Biden administration. Vilsack is a former Secretary of Agriculture and Iowa governor. He will be nominated for his old job. Vilsack was Secretary of Ag during the Obama administration. He was unanimously confirmed by the U.S. Senate in 2009 for that job, a post he held until President Trump took office. We are expecting more high-profile cabinet announcement from President-elect Biden this week. Tracy Potts has more on that, plus his plan to roll out COVID vaccinations.
Today, President-elect Biden will announce the first black nominee for Defense Secretary, retired General Lloyd Austin. NBC confirms 2 others pending. Tom Vilsack returning as Agriculture Secretary, and Congresswoman Marcia Fudge to head Housing and Urban Development. Biden just named his health team, backing a promise to vaccinate 100 million Americans in his first 100 days.
The work ahead will not be easy, but we know what needs to be done.
If authorized, tens of millions of vaccine doses will be available this month.
and we'll get it distributed very quickly.
But the White House Coronavirus Task Force warns it'll be late spring before we see a significant drop in cases and deaths. On Capitol Hill, still no agreement on COVID financial relief. The White House pitched deep cuts to unemployment. Democrats rejected that. Senator Bernie Sanders wants to add $300 billion for stimulus checks. And Senate Leader Mitch McConnell suggests dropping everything lawmakers disagree on to pass a smaller bill before Christmas.
We're going to be confronted with another request after the first of the year. We'll live to fight those another day.
Senator McConnell has put the jobs of firefighters, ambulance workers, sanitation officers, police officers in jeopardy.
Today, lawmakers are expected to prevent a government shutdown for one more week. Tracy Potts, NBC News.
So cloudy and cold again today. Meteorologist Danielle Dozier tracking when we're going to feel a bit of warm up. And Danielle, I'm just dying to see some sunshine.
Well, good news. I've got that in my hit right now, Peggy, so I'll show you that in just a second. It is cloudy out there right now, and of course the temperatures are held in response to the cloud cover. So we're only looking at a high near 40 this afternoon, and our wind chills are down in the 20s because it is breezy. You can take a look at our dog walking forecast over the next couple of hours, and we do keep a fairly cloudy sky around. Data's been hinting at maybe a few breaks down across Fayette and Greene counties today, but the clouds do fill back in later on this evening, and we'll also have a chance for some flurries or light snow across parts of the area. Now, speaking of the sunshine, we do have the clouds early on Thursday, but our data has been consistent for days now that we will get a decrease in cloud cover throughout the day on Thursday, so that should finally be nice to see a little bit of sunshine. Hey, I've got something cool happening in space weather. I'll tell you more about that coming up in just a few minutes.
Technology to the rescue. The Zoom call that helped parents save a teacher. A Zoom call and a Good Samaritan helped stop a home invasion in Ohio. A teacher was at her home near Cleveland on the Zoom call with one of her students' parents when she heard glass shatter. It was a man with a knife, and he had just broken in. He forced her upstairs. He rummaged through her things. Little did he know, though, the Zoom call was still open, and the parent jumped into action. Listen.
I don't know the location of your emergency.
The teacher that teaches my son, somebody broke into her house. Like we saw it all on the Zoom.
The teacher eventually broke free, but he chased her down the street. A contractor working in the neighborhood tackled the man and held him down until police arrived. The comeback is complete. Levin Furniture is buying back 5 furniture stores in Western Pennsylvania. So you might notice your local furniture store changing names. Levin's bought the former Love's Furniture location at the Point in North Fayette. It's also buying its old stores in McMurray, Mount Pleasant, Altoona, and State College. Levin's plans to rehire employees who used to work there and the employees it loves.
It's going to create a lot of additional jobs in the Pittsburgh region, and we're very excited about that. We're back to our 7 furniture stores in southwestern Pennsylvania, able to rehire employees, able to service again the customers that we were inconvenienced by not having a Levin location close to them.
Robert Levin tells us the pandemic has furniture factories running way behind, so opening the stores will depend on how long it takes to get inventory. No doubt restaurants have been one of the businesses hardest hit by the pandemic. The challenge of opening a brand new restaurant when the state is telling all of your customers stay home.
And the weather disturbance I'm tracking today that could bring some flurries to our area, it's bringing snow to eastern Pennsylvania and D.C. right now. Coming up, I'm going to let you know when some snow is in our forecast. Stick with us.
Restaurants are worried about any new restrictions that could come their way. The damage to businesses has been devastating. In the next 3 weeks, the National Restaurant Association believes 10,000 businesses across the country will close for good. That's on top of the 110,000 that have already closed because of the pandemic. And at a time when a lot of restaurants are closing, one is opening its doors for the very first time. But how do you open a restaurant when the entire state is under a stay-at-home advisory? Channel 11's Melanie Gillespie spoke with the owners of Olives and Peppers to find out.
As some local restaurants are struggling to stay open and others are even opting to close down for good, a new restaurant in Greensburg just celebrated its opening day in the midst of a pandemic, no less. The uncertainty of the pandemic didn't scare away Olives and Peppers from opening up its second location inside the historic Greensburg train station last weekend.
People might think it's a little bit bizarre to be opening, but there's no time like now, I guess.
Emily Williams says even though it's a tough time for the restaurant industry, the turnout surpassed expectations.
It went amazing. Our team did a fantastic job of executing the food, following safety guidelines. We saw some new faces, we saw some familiar faces, and we were just really pleased with the way everything went.
Through all the changes in state mandates, they're operating the same at both locations in Trafford and Greensburg with the same guidelines, half capacity and offering takeout.
Our experiences from the Trafford location have definitely carried over. We've gained a lot of knowledge about just properly and safely seating people during a pandemic. It's a crazy time.
The train station location can still seat up to 60 at half capacity with room to spare. And the owners say it's the community that keeps them going.
We're all supporting each other, that we're doing as best as we can, and we really, I cannot speak volumes to how appreciative we are of the communities that we have surrounding our restaurants.
Olives and Peppers said they are ready for anything if the state does hand down some new mandates. They're offering takeout here at this location and dine-in Tuesday through Sunday. Reporting in Greensburg, I'm Melanie Gillespie for Channel 11 News.
Your severe winter Team 11 forecast.
Temperatures across our area are climbing into the mid-30s at this hour. It's 34 degrees officially in Pittsburgh, but as I mentioned earlier, we do have a bit of a breeze, so it does feel like the 20s across a good part of our area. Forecast high today is only 40 degrees. I'm keeping cloudy sky in through a good part of our day, and those westerly winds could gust up to about 20 miles per hour today. That'll make it feel like the 20s over the next few hours, and then as the air temperatures climb, the winds stay breezy. It'll feel like the lower 30s later on this afternoon as you take a look at your forecast wind chill there at 3 p.m. Take a look at your morning planner for tomorrow. I'm forecasting a low of about 31 degrees overnight tonight. I will keep it cloudy and the winds will die off. So we're looking at a light wind tonight, and then we're actually looking at a light wind tomorrow. The difference for tomorrow is that our wind will be out of the south, which is a warming wind for us, which means the temperature should push up into the mid 40s and perhaps even the upper 40s across the area. Although it will be dependent on how quickly that cloud cover can get out of here. So if we can get that out during the late morning or early afternoon, we should shoot up into the upper 40s. And if the cloud cover is a little more stubborn, well, of course, it'll shave a few degrees off of the high temperature. So we'll see how it all pans out, but there is that potential. We do have a light wind that will be blowing tomorrow out of the south, so it won't be a breezy day for us by any means. Forecast high in Beaver about 46. It'll be cooler up in Butler into the low 40s, mid 40s out in Greensburg tomorrow at about 46 degrees. As I mentioned on your Thursday, decreasing clouds and light winds. And Friday is the peak day of the week still. It's going to be partly sunny and the temperatures will push into the lower 50s. Here is what I was talking about as far as something cool happening in space weather. In fact, a geomagnetic storm watch is in effect for December 10th, and what that means is NOAA's space weather is predicting a G3 storm, which means parts of the United States may actually be able to see the northern lights or the aurora borealis. That yellow line represents the G3 storm, which is a KP value of 7, and typically we need that value to be 7 for any part of Pennsylvania to actually have a chance, and it is going to favor folks up in northern Pennsylvania. But it's really cool. I thought I would share it with you. It It'd be really hard to see it in Pittsburgh because the KP value isn't quite as high this far south, and we have a lot of light pollution. But, you know, those folks up there might have a good view if the sky clears out. And of course, you have to be away from light pollution. I wrote an article. We'll have that up for you on our website, WPXI.com. 5-day forecast, as you see, your weekend is always in view, and we have temperatures that are still slated for the mid-50s on Saturday. Rain still looks to hold off toward evening, and then we'll have some spotty moisture still around on Sunday, which would be in the form of showers, but temperatures do look to fall still on Sunday. So as the colder air rushes in, could see a switch over or at least a mixture of some snow showers there in the forecast as we head into your Sunday night.
It's a staple of the holiday season, and Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas receives the song and dance treatment tonight here on NBC and Channel 11. We're going to show the Grinch Musical. Former Glee star Matthew Morrison gets to don the green makeup for the title role. Tonight's event isn't live because of COVID restrictions. Morrison had been largely housebound with family during the pandemic, but spent about a month in London rehearsing to film the production.
It was so much fun. It was a lot of hard work, and a character I don't typically play. But it was, I don't know, it felt very dangerous, you know, terrifying and liberating all at the same time.
The Grinch Musical airs tonight, 8 o'clock here on Channel 11. It's followed by the series premiere of Nurses and WPXI tonight. And now here's local Steals and Deals, Lisa Robertson.
What I have today is going to make a big difference in how you feel about yourself, and that's because it gives you a beautiful smile. Super Smile is a line that was created by Dr. Erwin Smigel. Now his wife and daughter, Lucia and Belanca, are the passionate people at the forefront of the brand.
My husband was the one who developed tooth bonding.
My dad was a legend in dentistry, and growing up, my brother and I really didn't know that at first until we got older and we would start going with him to dental conventions. We would go over to different booths and they would fill our bags up with toys and presents and things because we were with Dr. Smigel. My father was doing bonding on a lot of his celebrity patients and his regular patients.
And with bonding, it used to stain very, very readily.
So he and my mom, who was the CEO and is the CEO of the company, decided to form together with a chemist and make a toothpaste that would work, be gentle, be safe, be effective, and would whiten the teeth. And they found an ingredient and they mixed it together with another formula, and they called that formula Calprox, which no other toothpaste in the world has. It wasn't made just to whiten the bonded teeth, it was made to whiten all the teeth, natural teeth, bonded teeth, caps, veneers, all kinds of teeth. And that's how Super Smile began, with just that one toothpaste.
Thank you so much, and I'm so glad that we're able to really let everyone know about Super Smile. And I love that we have a lot of great options for you. We have the full-size day-to-day regimen with whitening and really healthy teeth. We have that amazing proprietary technology and a sonic toothbrush. So many great ways to have a clean, healthy, beautiful white smile. This is all 20% off on localsteals.com, and it's one of the best things you can do for yourself to make sure that you always make your best first impression with an absolutely beautiful smile.
Google is out with its year-end search list. Compiling it was a big job, too, considering the massive amount of newsworthy items this year. Google says global queries include the word why, such as why is toilet paper sold out? And they were searched more than in any year before. Unsurprisingly, election results was another one. Coronavirus topped the U.S. trending searches list for searches for Zoom, Naya Rivera, Chadwick Boseman, and PlayStation 5. Those were also among the top 10. The Pennsylvania Farm Show will not feature a butter sculpture this year. Say it ain't so. The show is slated to be all virtual. Organizers say the virus is too much of a risk for sculptors. The butter sculpture typically has a theme of particular significance for the state. Last year's sculpture depicted beloved sports mascots, including the Steelers' Steely McBean. Well, take a look at this video. It's from Squirrel Hill. Look at that. It looks like something out of the Hitchcock's The Birds. Dozens and dozens of crows ascending outside this home. We counted. There's more than 60. Strange. Well, that's all for Channel 11 News at noon. Our next newscast is tonight at 5. Until then, have a great day.